Good morning, friends. Good morning to the Sangha. Thanks for being here this morning, present in the room and those on other rooms. So many rooms. And this is Journey Home Meditation's morning sit, and today we'll do some breathing practice. A little bit of contemplation and some poetry. And not despite it all, but because of everything, I am happy to be here today. Truly I am. I've got a delicious cup of warm tea. Some lovely music by Mark Deutsch that those present in the room can't hear, but it's there. And I woke up in this body today. So many different experiences, just even in the moments of awakening. It's like you don't know what it's going to be like. I was thinking this morning about the way in which we talk about our dreams, and we're sharing these stories as if it's all the same things that is in our waking life. And we're talking about being at a cafe or whatever the story is. And it always amazes me that the ways in which we define our world even exist in our imagination. That we are confined even in a place of absolute and total freedom to call a spoon, or a cloud. Even then, we have a hard time seeing beyond what we think we know. It was just an interesting moment and thought this morning as I was sitting at the typer, typing up a poem. And I was looking for the words to describe the feelings, and it made me start to laugh a little bit because are we supposed to do that? Am I supposed to do? Can I legally do this? Can you? I don't think you can legally ask me that. That's a joke. But it does make me curious what it is that drives us together to share in concrete terms these things that are so ephemeral. And how even in death we see concrete placements, concrete things. Sometimes it's actually concrete. But we see these static and dare I use the Protestant word of inanimate. We see, sometimes maybe some of us would be a better, some of us, when we think of death, we think of the loss of animation, the inanimate. But when we share our feelings about it, we imbue so much life into the things we're talking about. We personify this person or this idea or this memory into an item. And this is how things become sacred. It's with these words that we sanctify. I just think that that's pretty interesting. And it makes me also understand why any time throughout history when a human has spoken about God or love, it always comes out as a poem. So this morning, before we go too deep down any silly little thought form rabbit holes for our own entertainment, let's take a few breaths together. Just sitting here in your body, begin to reconnect through all of the sensations that you're feeling in the moment. Maybe you have a light scent of incense in the room, as we do here. Maybe there's the smell of breakfast or coffee or tea, or the sweet musk of your blankets you're waking up into, whatever it is. Allow that sense to bring you into this place where you are right now. And feel the room as it brushes up against your skin. Place has its own quality of air and of feeling against your body. You know when you are in some places by the way that your skin just feels. Memorize this moment in your body with your breath and the feeling of the air on you. It's a feeling that you're being held in this place. Find that place. Like if you can picture the world having hands and cradling you in this moment, that's the feeling of the air on your skin that sweet air that we breathe in and out. Listen to the sounds. Place has frequency. Place has tone. Place has sound. Find your belonging within that soundscape. And what is the taste in your own mouth? What is the taste of the air around you? Just bring that into your practice this morning. Let's be in place today. And let's have a few breaths together with the bell. Finding yourself in an upright position, holding your body gently, shoulders relaxed, shoulder blades slightly together in the back. Opening your heart and your chest, breathing in to the bottom of the belly through the nose. Breathing in. And release. Keep yourself in that place of awareness of the smells, the feel, the taste, the sounds of the place you are in, breathing in. And release. Letting your thought forms just float away as you breathe in and become completely in this place. Just this place. Breathing in. And welcome home. What was it that the poet said yesterday? Bell Hooks told us that any place can become home. Any place can become home. This is one of the reasons that the language has been shifting around the way we talk of people that don't have addresses. You know, we don't say homeless because there has to be a recognition that if we believe someone to not have a home here, then we can believe they do not belong here. And I think that belief goes even deeper than social politics. I think that we can often feel in our own bodies that we don't belong here. I don't have a home here. And just don't feel at home in this body sometimes. I think that's a feeling that many people have. And I think many people have had that feeling since they were very young. And there's entire cults and industries and belief systems around doing anything and everything to find a way home outside of your body. What drugs can you take? What diet fads can you have? What workout programs? You know, well, it's something we've been doing for a long time. You know, when people would trade in the shipping routes and on the Silk Road, you know, walking and riding on animals' backs, thousands upon thousands of miles, carrying these belongings to trade, and they would bring fine silks or beautiful beads and special clays and paints, pigments that came from different regions of the world, and we would adorn ourselves. We've always adorned ourselves with these things. And even in the cosmology of some of the religions, uh, your body is you're banished, banished from the garden where your body was free to be naked and adored and one with life. And now we spend the rest of our time on this planet hiding ourselves in our shame. But this, I think, this notion feeds in even more with our understanding of death and of place, death in place. And that's what my morning poem was about this morning. And then I come in and I sit down and I open up Bell Hook's Appalachian Elegy, the book that we're working through each day here. I'll go ahead and show it again. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Try to find an independent bookstore to order from. And if not, there's actually a website. I'll put the link of it in the description of today's sit. That is sort of a conglomerate of independent bookstores, and they can order from an independent bookstore closest to you. But this is a fantastic book, and it's worth ordering. But I cracked open this book and found that number 4, today's offering, is right aligned with what my morning poem was and what my thoughts already were gravitating towards. And that happened yesterday as well. So I think we're on the right path. So let's get to it. Number 4 from Appalachian Elegy by Bell Hooks. Earthworks, thick brown mud clinging, pulling a body down. Hear wounded earth cry, bequeath to me the hoe, the hope, ancestral rights to turn the ground over, to shovel and sift until history, rewritten, resurrected, returns to its rightful owners, a past to claim, yet another stone lifted to throw against the enemy, making way for new endings. Random seeds spreading over the hillside, wild roses come by fierce wind and hard rain. Unleashed furies here in this untouched wood, a dirge, a lamentation for earth to live again, earth that is all at once a grave, a resting place, a bed of new beginnings, avalanche of splendor. I like that last line. It seems so surprising. Not because the previous lines were not talking about an avalanche of splendor, but because our beliefs around a lot of these things, the way we use words to describe feelings as concrete things, they define a lot of that talk of bodies and lamentations, burials, thick brown mud clinging and pulling a body down. Hear wounded earth cry. We're picturing the graves. Earth that is all at once a grave. And we're being swallowed like absorbed, you know. I always have this recurring notion of the sea just sort of reaching her hand out and just taking things back all the time, just reaching her hand out and taking things back. And it's entered into my poems a lot, like the way that the water just absorbs into the sand and there's gifts that are left there. Like these ideas are there. And the earth is the same. Like everything we see has come right out of this earth. This room I'm sitting in on this vinyl floor stamped to look like wood, you know, this plastic surrounded by pounded steel and carved wood and smashed stone and mineral spread thin into a paint. All of these things, all of these things, all of these things came out of the earth and are being brought back in. And so that is not by any definition outside of our own static belief a cause for fear. And yet, we have all of these stuck ways in which we forget the avalanche of splendor. And all of this is an avalanche of splendor. You know, this final line in this piece by Bell Hooks: a resting place, a bed of new beginnings, avalanche of splendor. You ever tried describing something that you just don't know the words for? Reminds me of Sebastian, the crab, in Little Mermaid, um, describing the dingle hopper as he holds a fork in his hand. Was his hand, his claws. Or maybe that was the bird. I guess it was the seagull. Whatever. But the whimsy of trying to open up and liberate our own sense of duty and obligation to this belief and this pattern is gone. We succumb to these definitions and then these patterns and then these cycles. And then we just call that the way I am. Oh, well, that's just the way I am. And it's so interesting that even in our sleep, we can't break free enough to even imagine ourselves being different than the way we believe. And that's got to be for a good reason. And I just don't know it. But my morning poem this morning is for my friend that was killed last month. He was walking on this earth, and his life was taken from him. He was struck on the road in the early morning hours by machines of our unmaking. And we've been reading Drew Jackson's books, God Speaks Through Wombs and Touch the Earth. We've been doing poems from these books. And it's funny because I think that the first day that I chose one of these poems, and I can go through and find this out, but I think it was April 15th. And that was the day that Cale was killed. That morning he was killed. And Cale's last name is Luke. Cale Philip Luke. And Touch the Earth and God Speaks Through Wombs is a response to verses in the book of Luke. So again, with these signposts on the road, this poem is for Cale Philip Luke. 2 shoes in the road and your socks. Was there for most of the day some piece of reminder, or maybe they just drove away forgetting them, you, your war. And now a cross will be planted on Redwood Highway, and from it no fruit, no leaves, no limbs holding children's swings, bird feeders, or grabbing sunset in its branches, holding on to the last of the golden day as everything else turns blue, then gray, then black. there's a moment when you're at the west coast of the US and you're looking over the Pacific Ocean, right when the sun is going down. There's this wonderful moment that if you're there and you're looking at just the right time and you're just watching as the sun is just disappearing in the horizon, right before it goes down completely, like hiding away, going into that sea, there's this beautiful green flash that occurs, this flame, like a final breath. um, I've sat bedside with many people as they die. I've seen many last breaths, and I watch each time for that green flame. There's that moment. And the greatest thing about that to me is just like the way that the earth is always swallowing us and spitting us back up in these new forms, that green flame is not the last breath. It's just this moment before transformation. And we have thresholds that we cross, but we come back. The next morning that sun is rising. I've never seen a green flash with a sunrise. So it seems that there is something about the good night or the goodbye that is momentous. There's something about that is worthy of pause. You have to just stop and watch, to be witness to that moment, to see that green flash. So it would make sense to me that we would need a ceremony around a burial, or we would want a ritual around a death, and that we would have a process like grief, because that pause is just enough time to let the whole world in. Rimbaud, Arthur Rimbaud, was a great French poet. He wrote most of his great poetry at age 16. Stopped writing poetry at 19, went off to be a gun runner and work in the human slave trade in Africa. Ended up living a miserable existence after he left France. Got gangrene, had to cut off his leg. Um, Miserable. But when he was 16, he said, "Once, if I remember well, my heart was a banquet where every wine flowed." And that's that green flash. That's that final moment where all of a sudden everything is happening. The whole world gets in. I was standing on Mission Beach in San Diego, first time I saw the green flash. And there's carnival rides always going in the background at Mission Beach. And there's hundreds, thousands maybe, people walking around eating churros and laughing. And there's rollerbladers with speakers on their shoulders blasting all sorts of nonsense. And there's the sound of the ocean, and there's the traffic and the honking and the parking people, and there's that moment at the green flash. And if you focus on that moment, it all goes away just for a second, and you are sitting in wow, in total awe at the avalanche of splendor. Thanks for being here this morning. I'd like to know if there's anything that would like to be spoken or explored here today. Okay. Would you like to share something this morning?
I would like to have an intellectually honest conversation with you
Right now?
if you have time.
Sure.
It's gonna leave me now. You're shouting at me in spirit. You're shouting at me, and I'm hearing, and I realize a big part of your journey is leading other people to the path. But I'm not just here to lead people to the path or to be led to the path. And part of my journey being led to the path is to compare notes. And I want to compare notes. I'm not playing coy. I'm not hiding the fact that I've been on a profound spiritual journey, and and I am bringing receipts with me. Like, I understand the maths behind it. I'm talking to people that want to study my fucking brain right now about this. But I don't know if you are at a place where you are sharing notes, or if this is just a complete internal spiral for you that doesn't involve seeking out the information that other people are getting from spirit.
I think I understand the question. But I am. I try to hold myself open as much as I can. I don't always have the response that people want or that they're looking for any sort of validation, except for to hold myself open.
That's a response, and that's a
Yeah.
beautiful response. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's the only validation that's necessary in this conversation.
And it's the only one I have. The openness is the invitation, and I don't know if it's an internal spiral or if it is so in San Francisco, there's this arcade you can go to with all these old arcade entertainments. And you put a nickel in and you can see these people dance and like all these machines and automatons. And there's a whole section of these viewfinders things where it's like an old style of watching a movie. You put your face in and you turn the crank and you can see the movie play out. So if it is an internal spiral, there is the lens that I'm opening to say, hey, this is what this movie looks like. This is what this thing looks like. But the interesting thing about those boxes is how full they are of mirrors. It takes a lot of mirrors to create that experience, to get the feeling of being in that space. So it's the best and probably vaguely abstract way that my brain wants to put together what it is that I'm doing here.
I postulate, and I wondered, are you interested in sharing that journey and what you are receiving from spirit? And if you met somebody whose therapist was dragging this because she keeps putting herself in the mental hospital instead of listening, who has the receipts, who is also on this spiritual journey, would you be interested to know more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here to have conversations. But again, I can just hold myself open. Yeah. And that's it. That's what I got.
I'm desperately trying to pull in supports right now. My supports are international right now. They're in the Discord groups. But I don't think it's healthy just to completely go through this alone, especially when you get to certain points in the journey. And I am searching for connection for other people who are hearing spirit, because I'm not fully living on this plane anymore of existence, just this plane, and it's lonely. It's nice having the groups. I can go there. Then we talk to each other. We have movie nights. Like, these guys are on the level. They're crazy ass genius fucking hackers who like, oh, it goes so fucking deep. But my best friend is the only one who's also in connection with spirit at all. So my human connections are very strained right now. She and her spouse are probably the only people who are able to understand me on any kind of level right now. I'm living in a different existence, and it's really lonely. And I see that you're living in that existence, that you're maybe not fully there, but you're marrying yourself to that existence. That's what it looks like to me. It means infusing yourself with spirit. It means every thought, every act, every thing that you're doing involves spirit. And at some point, it's not voluntary anymore because you consent. I consented to spirit. And things start getting scary. Real scary.
Yeah, I don't know, Angel. I don't have that experience of. Let's see. Where's the words for it? There's never been a time where it wasn't all spirit. Just there's a lot of time where there wasn't awareness.
Would you be open to checking out these Discord groups? And
I don't know about anything online, but I'm open to have this conversation to a deeper level and to introduce you to a couple of people. Not this morning, but I'm open to it.
I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
I'm here.
And thanks for being here.
Internally.
All right. If we're good, I'm going to close the session. Thank you.
Gratitude.
Refuge in the Buddha, refuge in the Dharma, refuge in the Sangha. Thank you, everyone out there who is joining us. Send a message, leave a comment, chime in on this conversation. This is a wonderful conversation for multiple voices in the Sangha to share in. So please, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Hari Om.